Assassination classroom video. This one's going to be about Koro Sensei, and it's going to have a lot of spoilers in it.
So
if you haven't seen the show
or read the manga
and you don't want spoilers,
you can skip this video.
Yeah, because it's like there's going to be spoilers everywhere because we really can't get that.
So, as usual, we're going to start off with some background. Now, we actually don't figure out the original origin story of Koro Sensei until much later in the anime.
And we don't even know the whole thing.
But Koro Sensei grew up in a very, very poor neighborhood, and
he grew up to be the assassin known as Reaper.
Yes.
So we never find out what his real name, his original name anyway, was.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, he during one particular assassination, he
killed this guy,
and
the guy had a son, and the son was fascinated with the artwork, as he called it, that Koro Sensei did, and so
he took him on as his apprentice.
And said apprentice eventually betrayed Koro Sensei, and Koro Sensei wound up in this facility where they experimented on him, and that's how he got the tentacles.
Mm-hmm.
While there, he became friends with one of the scientists. She wasn't one of the people experimenting on him, but she was in charge of, like, checking up on him afterwards and stuff like that, and they became friends, and implication for more.
Yep, and you actually find out,
Arya.
This woman who he became friends with, she was the original teacher of class 3E.
Yeah. So
they were always mocking her for her shirts that she'd wear.
I didn't think the shirts were that bad.
No, they weren't. But anyway, so while they were at this facility, the Reaper, they were using antimatter, I believe they called it, to experiment on him. And
eventually he decided, we're done. Mm-hmm. He broke out.
And he basically transformed into what he looks like now with the tentacles.
Not yet. I came later.
Right, sorry. He decided enough was enough, and he did escape, which led to the destruction of the facility.
Yep, and his kind of girlfriend ended up dying in all the chaos, and he was really broken up about that.
So what does he go to do?
He undergoes like this kind of transformation, and then he goes and to take her place and teaches class 3E.
Mm-hmm.
So he can go Mach 20, so he goes all around the world, and mostly for sweets.
Yes,
he has a big sweet tooth.
Yes, he really likes international sweets.
Yeah. He's also a boob guy. Something they're not shy about showing.
Yeah.
In the cartoon.
Mm-hmm. Not creepy at all from a teacher, but then again, he's got tentacles, and
he doesn't look human anymore.
Yeah.
So, the class, he encourages them to try to kill him, but he is very certain they can't, so.
Mm-hmm. And they keep trying and trying, but he's pretty sure they can't do it.
Yeah, but he does encourage them, like, wholeheartedly, and he's very eager for their approval.
Mm-hmm.
Like, early on, after a foiled attempt at assassinating him, he picks these flowers and gives them to them. But then they get really pissed off because those are tulips they planted in the flower bed, and he just yanked them up out of the ground. So, later on, Kurasuma comes along to check up on them, and he's tied himself to a tree and is allowing them to take pot shots at him in penance for what he did. And he will go like to outrageous lengths to keep their approval. Like later on in the series, he's being framed as a panty thief, and they get so pissed at him for it. And like other evidence is planted, like on his class roster, someone wrote like all the girls' cup sizes. And they find other things, and they get so pissed, and he gets so freaked out.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
And then when they have their exams, he encourages them and he tells them that if they make top marks that they each get a turn trying to
No. So during midterms, for every student who gets top of their year scores for a certain subject, gets to take out a tentacle. And he gets weakened if you take out a tentacle.
yeah.
So quite a few of them do.
Mhm. So yeah, that happens. But of course, Koro Sensei's still alive.
So, and every time that they have exams coming up, like he'll give them each private tutoring,
Mhm.
and he apparently even personalizes their class exams.
Mhm.
And that takes like, he does it really fast because he's very, very fast, but writing a test is not a simple, quick thing.
No.
So that is impressive.
Shows how much he really knows them, too.
Well, yeah, of course he knows them academically, that's literally his job.
True. Teacher.
So at the end, and again, spoiler, his old apprentice who betrayed him got his own tentacles and is even like is a huge ass monster. That's the best way to describe how he looks now.
Mhm.
And during their fight, Koro Sensei does eventually win, but it takes a toll. And it's decided, for a number of reasons, that his students are going to kill him. So they immobilize him.
He takes
And-
roll call one final time.
They're all crying. And Nagisa stabs him in his heart. So that's the end of Koro Sensei. The students are all exhausted because they had a very long day.
Mhm.
And so it's after their exhaustion is both physical and mental because they're all really upset. But life goes on.
Yeah. And there was even that little, I think it was a scrapbook he put together for them.
He did. He got a scrapbook. He insisted on a lot of pictures, and it's actually really funny because a lot of his pictures of them were from more embarrassing moments, so they chased him around to get them. But there are some nice ones,
Mhm.
and he has this thing for making huge guidebooks. And he did that for their summer trip. And before he died, he made them basically a guidebook for life,
Mhm.
which they all found real sweet and very useful.
Mhm.
Like Takabayashi and Okuda are using some of the information from theirs to make this synthetic blood. So that's their career when we see them after the time skip. At the very end, for a glimpse of their adult lives.
Mhm.
So that's one example. And they all still think about him and miss him. Hell, with the award money they got for killing him.
They bought their school building.
Yeah, I think so. Kayano, Karma, and Nagisa bought the school building itself,
Mhm.
and the others, everybody else in class, bought the mountain
Mhm.
that it rested upon. So some of them use that for their career, for training grounds and hiking. So yeah, so they're all still very attached to that place.
Mhm.
and through what they learned from Koro Sensei, they have a very strong bond, like the whole class, and even years later when they come up to clean the place after not being there for a while, he's still in their thoughts.
Mhm.
So that's basically it.
Yeah. So on to our categories. First, does he work as a character?
As a character, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
he has his flaws, he has his weaknesses, he has his good points, he has his annoying points.
he's got a very, very sad backstory too.
He doesn't really change much in the show, but he went through a lot of character development to get to where he is, and we do see some of it. So, not really much to say on this.
No. So does he work in his settings?
That's a bit of a complicated question.
Yeah.
Because he is, so like the setting itself is like the normal world, and he is not normal.
No.
So it's hard to really say, because they give an explanation as to why he is what he is, and in a fiction, yeah, it makes sense. But he's still like,
He doesn't look human anymore,
no,
so.
he very much does not. And his abilities are inhuman, and the list goes on. So in some ways he does, and in some ways he doesn't. Like, the show wouldn't exist without him. He is like the cornerstone to it. But he's just so odd.
He stands out so much, and you do learn that, okay, slight spoiler here, that he is more dangerous than you think.
Not really a spoiler.
I know, but still.
So yeah, so it's a complicated question, so I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
So finally, do we like him as a character?
Yes, I mean, for all of his oddball traits, because
He's fun, and there are many characters I enjoy watching more than I enjoy watching him, but yeah.
but he's still, nothing about him has ever made me dislike him.
No. Like, the worst you can really say is it's annoying how unkillable he is, but considering if they killed him, this show would be over, it kind of has to be that way.
Yeah. I mean, and you can say that his appearance overall is freaky, but
It
of
is.
course it is, because he's got tentacles and a big giant head and then a smile that never goes away.
No, it's creepy.
And he can change color.
Yeah, depending on his moods, his face changes colors.
But other than that, I like him. I like how quirky and funny he can be, and he really does grow to be a very good teacher. And you can see that he really cares about all the students.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it for Koro Sensei. Not a lot to say about him.
So we've got one more video after this.
So, if you guys can, leave a comment down below.
Or give us a like.
And you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. And we'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!